Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Purple Lunarose Tarot and Astrology. Tonight, we're going to be reading for October Twin Flame Current Energy Update. I am going to go over a little bit of the astrology, not too much of it, because I do plan on going over all of October transits on Tuesday, September 30th. So make sure to join me for that live. I do want to go over the moon phases. I feel like those are going to be the most important. I see the picture coming up, guys. Let me know. We have sound, we have picture, everything looks okay. I see everyone coming in. Guys, welcome. We are multi-streaming, so we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch all at the same time. As you can probably tell from the sound of my voice, I am still sick, but I am starting to feel better. So that's a good sign, right? And I didn't want to postpone our monthly reading, so we're definitely having tarot from Rosa's bed. Yay! So welcome to my bedroom. Welcome to, my vulnerable place, right? Sherry coming in. Sandra, welcome. All right, ladies. So really quickly, astrology. Again, we're going to go over all of the October transits on the 30th, Tuesday the 30th. So join me, mark your calendars for that. But I do want to go over Aries Full Moon. That's going to be the first lunation that we experience in October. On the 6th, we have a few different things happening. We have Mercury moving into Scorpio, and then we have the Aries full moon. This is ready to take action energy. Get ready to finish something that you've started. And I feel like it's very much, you feel very invested with this Aries full moon. On October 21st, guys, we have the Libra new moon. So this is all about new relationships, new commitments, and new compromises. I think that's the big theme that you're going to see with the Libra moon coming in on the 21st. And then on the 22nd, the sun will be moving into my favorite, right, Scorpio. And I do feel that this Scorpio season is going to be about second chances and renewal. October is going to be a month of inner work, shadow integration. And I also feel like this is going to be a month where we get to really start to understand the importance of divine timing. Perfect. Thank you. Sound, picture, check. I was a little worried because, yeah, a little bit different spot, and I am feeling better. I feel like my voice sounds worse, but I actually can breathe today and all of that stuff. I don't know what tried to get me, but have mercy. It tried to take me out, let me tell you. I would say like the last 24, 48 hours has been um, fierce, to say the least, right? Sherry says she's ready for Aries moon. You have Aries moon, so this is your full moon, right? I have all the Aries energy, as in my sun, Mercury, Mars, all of that. So I'm pretty excited for Aries full moon too. It is my favorite, of course, full moon of the year, of course. But I also feel like it's not an easy one, right? Like Aries full moon can usually light a fire under you that you probably didn't see coming. And I feel like that's probably what we're going to experience with this Aries full moon as well. Erica, is that Erica? I can't see the name. It says, I'm going into a sober living called Second Chances. That's not going to be a coincidence. Twitch coming in. Guys, tonight we are doing Twin Flame Current Energy Update. We're looking at the month of October. We do these every month just to get our collective energies to see what we're going to be working with. Next week on Tuesday, I'm going to be going over all the October transits, astrology transits. That'll give us an even more detailed look at what October will look like for us. All right, so for those of you that are new, we're going to look at the masculine and feminine energies. We're going to look at the bridging energy. The bridging energy is our current spiritual lesson. I am going to tap into each divine masculine, divine feminine. We're going to look at head, heart, and higher self. That's where I look at our thoughts, feelings, and current higher self lessons. I will pull messages from each side, and then we'll close it out with some Tree of Life guidance from Spirit, and I'll read it out of the book. Thank you, Vanessa. I know I feel like I sound worse, but I promise I feel a lot better today. All right, masculine energy comes out, entrapment. It's number 34. Okay, so one thing I'm noticing right away is that I'm normally allowed to pull all 3 cards for masculine, feminine, and bridging, and then we go over it. And I was immediately asked to stop with the entrapment card. I have letting go on the bottom for divine masculine. Okay, so remember, everyone has divine masculine, divine feminine energies, right? So our masculine energy is our protect and provide energies, and our feminine energies is our, nurturing self-care energies, right? So we all have these energies within. Divine timing, welcome. I feel like we're going to hear me say divine timing a lot tonight because that energy is very strong in the month of October. So not necessarily talking to you, but just wanted to let you know that you're probably going to hear me say that a lot tonight, right? Entrapment, I feel like when I was asked to pause here for the divine masculine energy, a lot of times with the entrapment card, I get manipulation. I get energy where maybe someone is being manipulated and that is causing them to feel like they're stuck or they're trapped in some type of situation. But immediately when I turn the entrapment card over, it's number 34 in the Heal Yourself reading cards. I definitely didn't feel like the divine masculine is being controlled in any way, really. So it's not about someone manipulating them and entrapping them in some way. I think it's more about some type of manipulation that the divine masculine maybe caused or did or had something to do with themselves. And that situation has caused them some type of entrapment. Like they feel like they're stuck in a situation that maybe they can't get out of. And that's why we're seeing the letting go card on the bottom. All right. Let's see what comes out for divine feminine. And I do apologize. I know my voice is not the best, but I just didn't want to miss it. I just got a feeling tonight's reading is going to just really give us a lot of information we've kind of been waiting for, right? We see whole in the soul coming out for divine feminine. I actually am a little surprised to see that. It's the longing energy. A lot of times I get this when people are trying to like practice cord cutting and stuff like that. To each their own, right? I don't want to keep telling people like, oh, you should do this or you don't do this or, whatever. Everybody's journey is going to be different. But what I will say is I wasted a lot of efforts, energy, and energy exchange and actual money trying to cut cords, trying to like run from that feeling, right? That longing, that missing, um, the confusion, the feeling like you're being pulled all the time. Lots of people do. Lots of people try cord cutting. That's something that is a common practice, actually. And I'm not saying that it doesn't work in other situations. I'm just saying that for me personally, it did not work in this situation. So I don't recommend it to anyone. I always tell people like this is all about your personal journey and this is about something that you need to heal within yourself. So whole in the soul is a big confirmation of that for divine feminine. We have number 34 and number 36. The numbers could be significant as well. I do feel like the synchronicities, all types of synchronicities, number synchronicities, just all types of synchronicities have been super high and definitely feeling like they're coming to some type of peak or some type of point. I get a lot of people asking me all the time. I get a lot of messages like, Rosa, why do I keep seeing this number? Why do I see 333 or 1111 or 444? Each situation, each person, each journey is going to be, again, different. And it's all the universe trying to show you that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. It is communication. It is something that you can like put the pieces together and figure out. But one thing I've noticed about spiritual awakening is like we all go through these steps, and it feels like you get to a part where you stop trying to figure out the synchronicities. You're really not trying to be like private investigator and figure it all out. You just really start to have faith in the universe, and you just start to realize that they're just signs showing you that, again, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. The longing is what's throwing me off for the divine feminine energy, because I do feel like the feminine energy is really stepping into empowerment energy instead of, and like breaking away from codependency type of energy. It's like we're becoming a lot stronger. We're seeing our self-worth, our value, that type of stuff is happening. So to feel that longing again tells me a couple of things. It tells me that the divine feminine could be feeling like she's having to face something that's, I mean, I don't want to just say challenging because it's very generic, but it's like, you know, we've faced one challenge after another. So it could be this energy of feeling like just kind of tired of doing it on your own type of thing. And that could be where the longing is coming into play. For some of the divine feminines, this could be a pull from the divine masculine, like your counterpart energy, the person who awakens you is pulling at that cord, right? That's also very possible. And I think it's also possible that it could have something to do with like the action that you're taking, the physical action that you're taking, because that's Aries full moon, right? The physical action that you're taking in order to heal that cord so you don't feel like something is controlling you or something is pulling you or something is like, you know, causing you to feel a certain way, right? All right, let's look at the bridging energy. So remember, the bridging energy is the current spiritual lesson. So this is really like the card, right? Like I'm sure there's other cards that may come up and you could be like, oh yeah, that really hits home. But this card that I'm fixing to pull, like if this is the lesson that you're currently learning on your spiritual journey, then that's how you know you're having this type of awakening, right? That you're in this collective energy or you're experiencing this collective energy. I feel like it's not just like, I know people have like their own collectives. I've never really felt like spirits ever said like, Rosa, this is your collective. No, we have like members only at PLR, and when we read for members only on PLR, that's a much smaller energy. But I feel like whenever I'm reading for the monthly collective, this is like worldwide, right? Like this is everyone that is having this specific type of spiritual awakening journey, right? All right, so the soulmate card comes out. It's number 14. So the first thing I notice is the numbers. 1 and 4 is 5. 5 means change. There is no twin flame card in this Heal Yourself Oracle set. The soulmate card talks about the importance of understanding the different roles that people play in our life. So I think what's happening for bridging energy is we're all collectively understanding more about our specific journey. I call it the twin flame journey. There's lots of different labels. Some people call this a soul awakening. Some people call it heart chakra activation. Back in the day, it was called like ray of light journey. You know, if you can keep going back in time, and each time that this type of awakening surfaces, there's a different label. There's a different name for it, right? Currently, 2025, we're, you know, fortunately and unfortunately calling it the twin flame journey. So I feel like collectively, we're all learning about soulmates, twin flames, and karmics. Most likely, we're all learning about who is who in our life, in our experiences. Um, and I think this has a lot to do with learning why we met certain people or why we're meeting certain people, um, why we're experiencing certain types of relationships. We have procrastination on the bottom, so overall energy is going to be that we're putting something off that we already know we should be doing. All right, so masculine energy, I feel like caught themselves in some type of trap. I do feel like it's something that was like self-imposed or I don't know, it's like something they put themselves into. Divine feminine, some of you could be looking into cord cutting. I would hope that we would just venture more into healing of the hole in the soul, right? And everyone is learning who is who and why. All right, a little Modern Witches Tarot to clarify. Two of Cups. So the masculine energy has gotten themselves in some type of manipulative entrapment type of energy when it comes to a partnership. It could be a soulmate. This is giving like trying to force something. I feel like it's also possible, like there could be like, I feel like there's some divine masculine out there is listening and they're like, you know what, I'm not trying to force it. In fact, it's the complete opposite. So I feel like if if we're looking at wounded masculine energy could have tried to force some type of relationship, and now they're finding themselves like trapped in some type of situation. If this is like healing or healed masculine energy, I feel like this is what they healed is trying to control the outcome or maybe even the who. All right, let's look at hole in the soul for divine feminine. We have Six of Swords. So Six of Swords says that you're being guided by spirit. Four of Pentacles and Ace of Swords is where I split the deck. So it's like you're being guided by spirit in order to get some type of new start, new beginning, clean slate, new offer. If some of you are feeling that tug, it's very possible that if there's an inner knowing now is where it's coming from. Look at the Empress coming out, the only major arcana we see so far, coming out for the bridging energy, for the lesson from spirit. You have King of Swords on the bottom. This is about speaking truth, authenticity. This is about taking action to speak truth. It's giving union. It's giving union. The soulmate card, 14. There's some type of change. Learning who everyone is, and then the Empress. The Empress is manifestation, fertility, creation. Again, inner knowing, and really, it's a knowing of all. So I feel like October is the month where divine feminine, you may be choosing yourself in some situation. Divine masculine could be getting out of karmic situations, because now everyone understands like the purpose, the journey, And I want to point out this is bridging energy. We don't see the lovers. We don't have two people on this major arcana card. We only have the Empress. So that's divine masculine in this energy and divine feminine in this energy. And this energy of knowing and creating. All right, so I'm going to do something kind of cool for the next part of the spread. 111 on the clock, Vanessa says. My blanket isn't as cool as I thought it was going to be. I really like the design on it, but I feel like it's making it hard to see the cards. All right, so now I'm going to look at Divine Masculine, Head, Heart, and Higher Self. And I'm going to use this communication oracle set that Miss L gifted me. And I'm going to start with the masculine energy first. And I'm looking at headspace. I'm tired of the arguments. Everything was triggering me. It's giving runner energy. I feel trapped in these emotions, but I'm doing this to myself. Oh my gosh, big confirmation. You see that? The goosebumps. All right, let's get one more. Higher self. Time is fluid. I'm at ease with what is, as everything always works out for me. So divine masculine could be learning again, divine timing, understanding that even when it doesn't look like it is, everything is working out for divine masculine. The what is sticking out. My counterpart energy was known for saying it is what it is, right? Like that was something like a common phrase. On the bottom, but what about all the promises that were made to me? All right, so I'm tired of the arguments. Everything was triggering me in the headspace. That could be why the running energy, that could be why the forcing of this relationship. And I'm not saying that it's a karmic relationship. I mean, Two of Cups is a soulmate card, but the entrapment card, it isn't. So it's almost like this divine masculine could be trying to force soulmate energy. I did that. Trying to recreate the wheel. Feeling trapped in a situation, again, something that they did to themselves. We have the Star card coming out, Aquarius energy. They want a clean slate. They want to be able to break free from something. It's the Star. Hope for the future. All right, I feel trapped in these emotions, but I'm doing this to myself, coming out in the heart space. I do feel like this definitely could be some communication. This could be what divine masculine is saying to divine feminine. We have 8 of Wands, so that communication could come in quickly. Quick information, sudden changes. All right, higher self lesson for the divine masculine. I have time is fluid. I'm at ease with what is, as everything always works out for me. And we have 5 of Swords coming out. Excuse me. 2 of Wands on the bottom, having to be patient, having to wait for something. I feel like the divine masculine is struggling to believe that everything works out in their favor, and probably struggling to believe that because they're going through this challenging situation in this partnership. All right, let's pull Divine Feminine, Head, Heart, and Higher Self. I can't stop crying, and I don't know what I need to do next. That's pretty interesting because I've had so many Divine Feminines reach out to me about the emotions, right? The extra emotions. And I feel like for the most part, we kind of figured out that, again, for each of us, it's going to be something different. Definitely correlate with your birth chart. But I think for the most part, we all realized that those Virgo eclipse moons had a lot to do with why we were feeling what we were feeling, right? All right, sometimes space is definitely needed. Resolution can wait. This is in the heart space for Divine Feminine. And one more, I'm looking for higher self message, higher self lesson. Both people need to make it work. One can't keep trying and expect it to get better. On the bottom, if you keep requiring your partner to fill your void, you will be disappointed. Fill and heal your voids and show up for yourself. I think that's a lesson that we all had to learn. And I think that's, interestingly enough, this journey teaches us that lesson, right? Because in the beginning, when you're going through, like what they call the honeymoon phase or the bubble period where everything's like, tastes like chocolate and smells like roses, right? That it's like that person brings you all the happiness, all the joy, all the whatever. And then you go, of course, through separation, and then there's dark night of the soul, and then you have to learn how to like fill your own cup, yada yada yada, right? So it does kind of give that, like that's the whole purpose of the journey type of energy. Vanessa, I can't see what that says. My emotions are heated. Does it say heated? I know, I'm too far away. But I'm so comfortable, spread out. I spread the blanket out at the end of my bed. I was like, this is it. This is what we're doing. Can't see it. Does it say hatred? I hope it doesn't say hatred. I feel like it says hatred. So I'm shuffling and the Tower card comes out in my Rider-Waite. Divine Masculine could be experiencing a Tower. Tower moments are when Spirit steps in to remove obstacles that we're struggling to be able to remove on our own, right? All right, I can't stop crying and I don't know what I need to do next. We have Queen of Swords coming out. Queen of Swords, so in other words, this is interesting. In other words, Divine Feminine, you're super emotional, you're in this longing energy, and you're playing like you're, you know, no, you're playing off like you have no emotion. Queen of Swords is someone who's like really standoffish, a cold shoulder. You could be giving the cold shoulder as well. Like it's not bothering you. I feel like I was just talking to someone about the crying. Oh, I was talking to several of you about the crying, but I was telling a couple of you about like my own personal experience. Like before spiritual awakening, like I didn't want to cry in front of people. I would always pretend to be like this, tough, badass person. And then after spiritual awakening, I started noticing that like I couldn't control it, and I would cry in front of people, and that's embarrassing as all get out, right? Especially if you're like, at the cash register at your local grocery store or something, right? And you just freak out because the guy says he doesn't have change or something, and you just bust out into tears. It definitely could feel awkward and weird. I don't feel like it's that bad anymore. Like after going through Dark Night of the Soul, I don't feel like it's that out of control. But I'm still super emotional. And I was telling a friend of mine, I was like, I feel like I put a lot of makeup on. I put a lot of mascara on, and it's like especially like if I'm going to work, like I put it on. It's like my armor. You know what I mean? It's like I can't cry, I can't smear my mascara, so I was telling my friend, I was like, so I tend to blink a lot. I tend to blink a lot. But yeah, I feel like I'm talking to Divine Feminine, where you're giving off this, like this outer shell of not bothered. Sometimes space is definitely needed, and resolution can wait. We have Scorpio energy coming out, death and transformation, the ending to something. I have a feeling like Divine Masculine has like urgent message, urgent communication, and Divine Feminine is, again, in this energy of not bothered, and this energy of, it's almost like you're in my past and I'm not trying to be mean, but like if this is counterpart energy, it's coming with you. But it's almost like Divine Feminine, like, I'm not bothered and you can't come with me. All right, both people need to make it work. One can't keep trying and expect it to get better. That's the Hanged Man. There's this energy of, especially if the focus at any time for Divine Feminine is going to counterpart energy, going towards the person that awakens you instead of your own inner masculine and feminine energy. We need to move out of the head space and into the heart space, right? That's how we get done. That's how we get through those obsessive thoughts and all of that kind of stuff. And I feel like that could be happening for Divine Feminine. But let me tell you something. I feel like Spirit will stop me if I'm wrong, or I'll get that pat on the back of the head. But me personally, Rosa, I feel like the message I'm getting over here for Divine Feminine is you're feeling the pull, you're feeling the longing, and you could even be asking yourself, like, why? I've done too much work on myself. I've integrated my shadow self. I know my worth. I know I'm badass. I know I'm the prize. I'm not going to like waste a single second on nonsense, right? So if that's you, but you're feeling that pull, and all of a sudden you're thinking of your counterpart energy all the time, and all of a sudden, you're seeing the synchronicities, and you feel like, what the heck? Like, why are you being guided in this way? That pull is coming from your counterpart. Yeah. I feel that. Like they're in some type of situation, and it's like, I'm going to pull on this energy. Scorpio energy coming out strongly. Libra energy coming out strongly as well. Remember that Libra moon, new moon comes in at the end of October. Water signs, Aquarius also coming out strongly, and Pisces coming out. Page of Swords on the bottom. Someone is watching. All right, let's do messages. I did pull out the OGs. I actually went through the OGs, and you'll notice this is a much smaller stack of cards. I actually made some shorts today using them, and I decided I was going to use them for tonight's reading as well. I went through them and picked some of the ones that I felt drawn to pull out, but I also, for the most part, these are going to be the newest ones that I have. And for those of you that don't know, the OG message cards are from my own personal journey. All right. So let's start divine masculine to divine feminine. What does divine masculine want to say to divine feminine? Let me be comes out. That's Southern slang for leave me alone. Step up or get out of the way. I definitely am feeling strong aggression, right? Only those who care about you can hear when you're quiet. I feel like divine masculine, again, could be trying to get out of some type of situation that they got themselves into. I think that only those that care about you can hear you when you're quiet has big confirmation to divine feminine when I was like, they're pulling at your energy. And that's why, even though you've done all this work, you can't understand why you're feeling that pull. Not yet, but I should. I should, right? Like I should make these. I want to be honest is coming out from divine feminine to divine masculine. I can see you even in the dark, divine feminine to divine masculine. And you've always been great. You just needed to realize it, divine feminine to divine masculine. On the bottom, tell me what you want me to do then. So yeah, a lot of this energy of not knowing what to do next for divine feminine. I think October is going to be this month where we get a lot of clarity and we get a lot of that. These are the next steps, right? But we also understand, I think we're also going to get like realization, the whole divine timing thing, right? On like why it had to be a certain way, or why it had to take as long as it did, or why we had to wait as long as we did. I feel like divine masculine has an aggressive energy. I mean, which I guess is not abnormal, but it is because it's definitely like towards divine feminine. And divine feminine has more of a not bothered type of standoffish type of energy. And I feel like the interesting part is both energies trying to protect themselves. But the point of the whole month, like the whole lesson, is understanding the purpose of like who we are, why we come together to create in this journey to begin with. And I feel like Spirit's going to give us this big lesson on what we need to leave behind and what we're going to be able to carry with us forward into the future. All right, let's pull Tree of Life guidance card and let's see if, like always, Spirit wraps it up into a nice message. I'm gonna text my twin flame soon, probably on Aries full moon. I will probably wait for the full moon as well. I will say, I don't know, maybe I'm not supposed to say. All right, the nuts card comes out, the bark card comes out, and branches fallen comes out. The wind is on the bottom, so it's giving this energy of like being tested. And I will say, I also feel like October is going to be a month of it's going to be stormy. And remember, we get storms in order to come in and clear the path for us, right? All right, so I think the wind card is about the testing that we're going to experience. I think the nuts card is talking about like the winter months that are coming up. And here in the US, the winter months really are coming up, and how we need to start preparing for what's coming in the future is what I'm getting with that. The bark card is definitely about protecting yourself, protecting your journey. For me, I'm getting in so much trouble all the time. Good thing the spirit loves us unconditionally. But for me, it's about like what energy I'm allowing into my environment, and what environment am I putting myself into as well. So that is coming up with the bark card energy, but I'm going to read the branches fallen. Actually, open right up to it. It's going to be card 15, and it's on page 51. So again, number synchronicity 1551. All right, so Tree of Life, branches fallen. It talks about obstacles, pruning, clearing the unexpected, being good in an emergency, precariousness, denial, delayed decisions, dangerous inaction leading to risk. It says, uh-oh, look up. Tree of Life, branches fallen card is about the big risk, the crashing down of plans, and the dangerous moments we narrowly escape. When tree branches fall, they signify an event that could threaten many, and is often obvious to all only after the fact. Branches fallen is an indicator that you may need to take a good look at the state of things, take care of your health better, pay close attention to your environment. You may have narrowly escaped a risky situation. Branches fallen from the trees when the tree is stressed by circumstances, or when limbs die and break off. Be sure to trim away what is no longer fitting in your life. Cut out what needs to be removed before it hurts you or others. If there's something causing you stress, consider a major pruning. Tree of Life, branches fallen may be showing you that you're good in an emergency. You can respond with intelligence and care in many ways, and are ready for the unexpected. Another aspect of branches fallen is that they create obstacles in your pathway. Obstacles in life can be tough challenges, but it depends on how you look at them. If you ride a horse in the woods, for example, an obstacle such as a fallen branch on a path is fun to jump over and make the ride more exciting. A child at play will discover great things climbing on a fallen branch. If you face obstacles knowing you have what it takes to get over them, it signals a time of great empowerment for you. I think that is the message. We're going to experience obstacles in the month of October, but we're going to see spirit carry us through, and we're going to be able to integrate what we've learned through our shadow work and our inner healing, and we're going to be able to face those challenges a lot easier or a lot smoother than we normally would. I always say, like, people think that we're having spiritual awakening and that means that you're not going to have any problems in life. That's not the case at all. Spiritual awakening is just teaching us the tools that we need in order to be able to handle those challenges and obstacles, right? All right, we'll leave it right there, guys. I hope that was helpful. I am going to clean up. I'm going to offer energy reads, just some regular Rider-Waite. If anybody wants to do masculine, feminine, and your own bridging energy, let me know. Now is the time in the comments. So glad my voice held out for the most part. I think I only coughed once. Not too bad. Tomorrow night I'm supposed to come back and do all 12. Wrong. We're not doing all 12 signs. We're doing the elements collectively tomorrow. So come back and join me for that. Fire, water, earth, and air. You grab a drink. Definitely have to go back and watch that one. It came out so fast. Weird. All right. We have the Empress coming out, which we just saw. Let me put it up there so you can see it. Vanessa. The masculine energy is using some type of alchemy, alchemizing. They're alchemizing. Masculine energy is able to create something, which is normally the feminine energy, because they've alchemized something. In other words, they went through something challenging, and then they pulled something positive from that situation. Your feminine energy is struggling to let something go, release something. It could have something to do with the idea of money, but it could also have something to do with like the idea of where do I go to next? What's my next step? What's coming next in this journey? Ace of Cups is here as your bridging energy. So this is definitely like trust your intuition. You could be having intuitive hits. And it's so funny because you talked about, was it you that said, did you use the word hatred? Was it you? I don't want to get the wrong person, but I feel like it was you. Um, you have this strong overflow of emotion due to the feeling of like not sure what the next step is, or feeling like someone is limiting what steps you can take. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. All right, divine timing. Divine timing. I see Ten of Swords. Disagreements, arguments, someone's holding someone back. Six of Swords, being guided, Hanged Man. Divine timing, there's not a lot of movement. This is analysis paralysis. So Five of Swords is stuck in your head. So the masculine is stuck in their head. The feminine is trying to listen to spirit, trying to follow spirit, struggling to leave the chaos behind, something about that. The Hanged Man is the bridging energy. This is the card where it's like we need to go from the head space into the heart space. You're over analyzing, overthinking. This is your current spiritual lesson, though. So you could be someone who overthinks things regularly, and it's like spirit's guiding you away from that. But there is this energy of like going back and forth, struggling with like self-doubt, having disagreements. It could be disagreements with yourself, higher self. If it's higher self, I mean, I don't recommend that. I do it all the time, but I don't recommend it. Four of Wands is on the bottom, 11, firm foundation. That's what the whole thing is about. This could have something to do with a home, a job, security, financial security. But that's what the self-doubt and like not following guidance. Like spirit's telling you go this way, and you're staying in the chaos that you think is drawing you to this Four of Wands. I'm gonna leave it there. Hope that was helpful. All right, Sherry. Sherry, I just saw Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups is about emotional contentment. It's about finding happiness in the things that are around you. All right, here we go. Masculine energy. We have Nine of Swords. I heard overthinking, but it's anxiety, depression. You could be overthinking something, causing yourself stress. All right, masculine, Nine of Swords. Feminine, we have Seven of Swords. This could have something to do with leveling up. You could be keeping something to yourself. You could be thinking about something that you're keeping to yourself. Seven of Wands is your bridging energy. This is about healthy boundaries, protecting yourself, standing up for yourself. I feel like their masculine energy, which is the action energy, is in the analysis paralysis. And I think that your feminine energy, which is your creative energy, is either manifesting something or coming up with something, and you're not telling anyone. This is a leveling up. The Seven of Wands is leveling up, and it's keeping something to yourself. That's been kind of collective, really, for both masculine and feminine. It's this energy of we don't have to announce everything to everyone. Yeah, and it has something to do with because you're having to stand up for yourself, because you're having to protect yourself. Seven of Cups on the bottom is something about your choices or options. That could be what you're keeping to yourself. All right, I hope that was helpful. So because October is the month of facing the thing we fear, shadow work, and integration, if you've been trying to have healthy boundaries, but you're not enforcing them, then like October is the month, right? October is the month where you face the big scary monster type of energy, right? All right. There's an M sticker on my card. Forgot all about it. Probably can't see it. It's tiny. All right, Jenna, the Hanged Man, Pisces energy, enlightenment. So all night it's been about moving from the head space into the heart space. This energy is enlightened. This energy is not stuck in the head space. The energy is flowing. King of Cups comes out for Divine Masculine. This is you, for your feminine energy, this is you getting control of your emotions. You just got a whole bunch of something. So it's like you have a whole bunch of emotion for someone, but you're not, and maybe before, like, you struggled to like keep it in your cup, right? And it was like it would always overflow. Maybe you were always giving them too much, something like that. you're keeping this mild-mannered. It's almost like we picked up with the feminine energy in the collective. Like, I'm not bothered. I'm in control. It seems much more mature, I guess. Like mature emotion. I have a lot of emotion, but it doesn't control me, is what it feels like. All right, bridging energy. We have Wheel of Fortune. So 2 out of 3 major arcana. Wheel of Fortune is good luck, good fortune. Things start to bend in your favor. But I'm just saying, this is huge. And I feel like, Jenna, your energy is always more elevated than the rest of ours. And I don't really know what that means. I mean, I think it just means that you've been going through your awakening more, or that you're like more consistent in your spiritual practices, or maybe you're more committed. Maybe you're more disciplined. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I've always felt like your energy is like, I don't know, elevated. It's always a little bit ahead of me, or like ahead of our, group, right? So seeing the 2 out of 3 major arcanas is not really too surprising, and seeing the things starting to bend in your favor is not too surprising either, especially if you're getting control of your emotions and your emotions are not erratic or overflowing or people pleasing, and this energy is becoming more enlightened and taking spiritual action. Well, then it would be, it would be normal for the Wheel of Fortune to be as you're bridging energy, and things would at this point start to bend in your favor, right? All right, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that was helpful. All right, was that it? Is that last one? Will I find someone to care for me? Can't read what that says, but oh my God. Will I find someone to care for me like I have for the wrong person? Who is that? I can't see. Was it say Barb 420? I said that. I said almost those exact words to someone not very long ago. I want to say, oh my gosh. I can't remember how I said it, but it was something like, I hope I find somebody that loves me as much as I loved you. That type of energy. I didn't know that either. Live near Salem. Totally didn't know that. I feel like maybe you told me. I remember now. But I'm actually in the middle of this. I can't remember if it was in the book. I'm reading a book, but I'm also watching the documentary at the same time. I'm learning that a lot of like the Salem witches were actually like divorced women, not divorced, like they didn't have a husband. Some of them, their husbands died. Some of them, their husbands just weren't there. Some of them, they weren't married. And it's like they did these things to these women because they were, if I'm understanding correctly, because they were trying to take their property, which they did. Sherry says 420 is my angel number. Me too. It's about to be. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much for coming in here, hanging out with me, and dealing with my, nasally voice. Hopefully tomorrow it'll be a little clearer. I definitely feel 1,000 times better than I did yesterday. So I can tell it's clearing up. It's just taking its sweet time for sure. But yeah, I hope that the October collective was helpful. If anybody has any questions, I don't know why I said that. I normally don't ever say that, but if somebody's out there is going to have a question, apparently, I don't know. Just message me, email me, purplelunarose@gmail.com. All right, I'll be back tomorrow night, 8 p.m. I'm going to be doing 4 readings, one for fire signs, one for water signs, one for earth signs, and then one for air signs. I know we normally do all 12 signs, but I'm sick. If you guys want to know why I'm sick, I'll tell you really quickly. It's because I was supposed to take this week off. Remember when I burned out? When was it? Like April? And Spirit was like, you need to schedule your breaks, so many, months in advance. I was like 3 months I was supposed to do. I don't know, but I'm at that. This was supposed to be my break. It popped up on my calendar on my phone. It's like, take this week off. And I didn't plan it, so I didn't take it off. And then I got sick. So it's like, what a coincidence, right? But yeah, so tomorrow, just the elements. That way I can keep it short and sweet. And then next week, we'll try to get back to some type of normalcy. On the 30th, on Tuesday, I'm going to come back and do all of October transit. So make sure to mark your calendars for that live as well. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I love you all. Thank you, everyone, for coming in, hanging out. I'm always, always sending you abundant love and light on your journey. Have a good night, everyone.